Shadow of a Doubt is one of the most highly regarded of all Hitchcock flicks. I mean, Hitch himself frequently called it his favorite of his own work, which is shocking considering the dude made such masterpieces like North by Northwest and Strangers on a Train and Rear Window and Psycho and freaking Vertigo, and this one was his favorite? Well, the more you analyze Shadow of a Doubt, the more you can see why. It neglects a lot of the famous Hitchcock tropes everyone knows him for, like the cold, beautiful blonde or the elaborate murder scenes. But it's still very firmly a Hitchcock film from beginning to end, focusing on the theme of the double, a family rotting from within, and characters constantly making jokes about murder.
Of course, I could always wear gloves. Press your hands against the pipe after you were dead and make you look like a suicide. Except it don't seem hardly likely that you'd beat yourself to death with a club.
Doubt opens with Charlie, played with fantastic evil glee by Joseph Cotten, as he avoids detection by the cops. We don't know why they're chasing him, but oh wait, it's a Hitchcock movie. We totally know why. If you're being chased in a Hitchcock film, either you're charming and innocent, or you're a fucking psycho killer, and Charlie ain't too charming.
Horrible. Faded, fat, greedy women.
But they're alive, they're human beings.
Are they?
Then we cut to his family and Teresa Wright as, Charlie, named after her uncle. She mopes around talking about how crappy and busy their family is, and you watch it now and think, okay, you little shit, then why don't you get up and find a job or cook dinner or do the dishes instead of fucking sulking about it?
When she comes back, it'll be the same thing. Dinner, then dishes, then bed. I don't see how she stands it.
They find out Charlie's gonna come visit, and boy is she excited. Like, really excited. Really way too excited. This kind of intense family love probably didn't seem too weird back then, especially during World War II when uncles were dying all over the place, but now, it's kind of weird.
Because we're not just an uncle and a niece. It's something else. I know you. I know that you don't tell people a lot of things. I don't either. I have a feeling that inside you somewhere there's something nobody knows about.
Something nobody knows?
Something secret and wonderful. I'll find it out.
Ooh, yeah.
Most of their scenes look and feel like romance scenes. Hell, even the ending is played out as a kind of dance, and it's hard to overlook the incestuous undertones going on here, which I don't think was Hitchcock's intention, but then again, he did have a pretty twisted sense of humor.
I hope you'll excuse me if I appear a trifle excited.
Anyways, Uncle Charlie fits in at first, but we can tell he's hiding something. He keeps trying to avoid certain topics, like a waltz somebody's humming or a newspaper article.
It's the Blue Danube Waltz.
Oh, yes, of course it is. No, it isn't, Uncle Charlie. I know what it is. It's the
Terribly sorry, Anne.
Nothing to make a fuss.
Hitch is smart for letting us slowly discover the truth along with our lead heroine because it builds up the dread in our mind and makes us think it might actually be worse than what we can imagine. Some private detectives show up pretending to be writing an article on, ironically, a normal American family, which pisses off Uncle Charlie something furious.
Mr. Sutton's been taking pictures of my room.
My sister told me to remind you something about eggs in a cake. I don't like to be photographed. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you for the film.
Oh, Uncle Charlie.
Give it to me, please.
It is also where we're introduced to by far the weakest aspect of the movie, the forced romance. One of the detectives falls in love with Charlie basically that night, and one day later they're talking about getting married. I mean, I know it's an old movie, but holy fuck, even for 1943, this seems a little rushed, don't you think?
Charlie,
Yes?
I suppose it could never really happen someday that you tell your father. You know, about marrying someone, a detective, I mean.
I don't know.
I didn't mean to tell you. I wanted to wait until you'd forgotten all the mess we've been through together, till you could stop thinking of me as a part of something unpleasant and frightening. I wanted to wait and come back and then tell you. But I can't help it. I want to tell you now. I love you, Charlie. I love you terribly.
He plants the seeds of doubt in her mind about her uncle, and then she runs down to the library to read the article Uncle Charlie kept trying to hide. This whole journey is bursting with suspense, and it keeps building and building, and then finally when we see the headline, blam! It's really one of Hitchcock's most involving and underrated movie scenes.
Can't be anything really awful. Prove to him it isn't.
So now Charlie knows, and stupidly makes it pretty obvious to her uncle that she knows, leading to a confession in a bar that showcases just how evil, misogynistic, and fed up with the world Joseph Cotten is in this flick.
Do you know the world is a foul sty? Do you know if you rip the fronts off houses, you'd find swine? The world's a hell. What does it matter what happens in it? Wake up, Charlie. Use your wits. Learn something.
two actors have never been better than this scene, except possibly the ones that immediately follow, where Uncle Charlie hears another suspect has died fleeing the cops and the detectives no longer consider him a threat. He's super pumped about this until he realizes there's one loose end, and that's his beloved niece. His pause on the stairs is just perfect.
Well, I think I'll go out and get ready for dinner. I'm hungry. I can eat a good dinner today.
What follows from there is a twisted game of cat and mouse between the two Charlies, showing how each of their juxtaposed personalities playing opposite of each other, and that most of this foulness is set in the most happy Americana type of household proves why this flick was such an influence to much darker suburbia movies like Blue Velvet and American Beauty.
But I'm not afraid, Charlie. What would you tell? Who'd believe you? A waltz runs through your head. You don't like the initials and a ring, and you connect it all up with a newspaper clipping. And now you haven't even got the ring. I don't know what became of it.
You have it.
I gave it to you.
I don't want you here, Uncle Charlie. I don't want you to touch my mother. So go away, I'm warning you. Go away or I'll kill you myself.
Uncle Charlie keeps trying to figure out ways to get rid of his niece, either through coercing or flat-out killing her. Until finally, she puts the pressure on so much he decides to bail. And that's when we get to the train scene, which is one of the best among Hitchcock's finales, really exciting and suspenseful. But the coda that immediately follows it stinks to fucking high heaven. So shadow of a doubt, Hitchcock's best movie? I mean, good God, no. The opening is too slow and the romance hilariously tacked on, but even then, if this was a movie from any other director, it would surely be ranked among his best. The fact that I wouldn't put Doubt in my top 5 or even my top 10 Hitchcock movies proves how fucking great he was, more so than whatever flaws this movie has. It's definitely worth watching and I give it a solid 4 fries out of 5.
Not yet, Charlie. Let it get a little faster. Just a little faster. Faster. Now.
I slept all right. I kept dreaming. Perfect nightmares. About you, Uncle Charlie.
Oh, yeah.